We might quite like to see this. You see that bird's nest just there in the tree? The bird's just parrot just flown off, but can you see that those white sort of strands and then the sort of red strand? I'm pretty sure that that is from our sacks. Basically, when we make the ponds, we put these sacks. You can just see them poking out. If you zoom, I'll zoom in again. You can see in the white there. It's a plastic sack that we use. And we fill it full of dirt, mud, and then it helps us to stabilise the banks. But of course, they do fray over time, and so that ingenious bird has taken some of it to make it into its nest. So there you go. I don't know quite what that says. Oh, the monkey birds are running away. I don't quite know. Sorry, mouse birds, not monkey birds. I don't quite know what that says about recycling, but there's something. Oh, look, looks like we're draining this pond finally. So yeah, they've started doing it. So I'll have to have a look at the level and get the records for how many fish we've got. So a bit late today because the road was flooded out, so I had to go a different way. So I'm keen to see progress. There's just mud everywhere. Great when the season's over in terms of the reconstruction of the ponds. And so, oh, this is looking nice and green. So there's green in the pond. That's great for the fish. Anyway, let me get to it. Another drained pond. Samuel and Ian stuck the fish into happers, and I think we've got about 90 plus fish that we can sell, which are sort of, at the price we want because they're above 120 grams. And then there's a whole load of the little tiny ones, which some of those are fingerlings that have grown, some of them are just the stunted fish, but we haven't counted them. They're in happers in here, so we need to do that just to see what our mortality rate is, how many fish we got. About 25% mortality from this pond, if you remember. This pond has been finished, sort of. I'm just going to get the tape measure and measure it, but it should be 1.2 at this shallowest point from that pipe down to the bottom. But it's been raining so much, can you see there's a bit of slippage? So what we've decided to do is just give it a few days to hopefully dry out a bit more, and then we'll get rid of the stuff on the sides, then start planting grass, because that's what will keep this from collapsing. So we're just starting on this pond. We'll see how it goes. Very muddy work, but definitely getting there. I might try and get in there and see if I can do some help. Just come down to have a look at the new BSF bays, but I just noticed this, a bit of local ingenuity, call it that. I'd said, look, we should, because there's the belt that spins round, and of course if that snaps at speed, could be quite dangerous to somebody. So I said, look, we should just weld a metal box over the top here, sort of on this side here, but this is what's been built instead. It's this wooden contraption. At least I'm guessing that's what that's for. I mean, it will help, but we'll have to look at that. It's all sort of tidied up as well, and I've just brought some of my own kitchen waste, which I'll put through the shredder in a moment. I'll spare you the noise. But these are the BSF, so it looks a bit drier, which is good. And then let's check out these new bays. So not in use currently, but yeah, looking good. So they're a bit steeper. So in terms of the slope goes down a bit more, but that gives us that 30 centimetres we want to maximise how much we can get in there. And here we have it. The bays with pipes to collect any excess water, so we're just sort of drying them out. You can see they've been stepped as well, so it fits in with the geography of this thing. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting these up and running. There is a issue we have in terms of storage, in terms of where do we store the material. So we've got one of the big drums there, but we've got another one here, but we need to get some more. We should have dozens of these, because you want to put all your food ready so you're not sort of scrambling around trying to feed your maggots. But I think that we will try to use the verticality of this space in the sense that we'll maybe try and see if we can get some shelves somehow, maybe over the bays. You can tell I'm not very good at this type of thing. And we definitely need to also clear out this, because currently it's just full of timbers, got these big eucalyptus logs which need to be shifted, and this is where our polytunnel is going to be. We're just discussing that. It's not been easy to get the material, I have to say. One of the issues working here in Uganda is, the things that I might expect in the UK in terms of, go to our website and have a look at whatever it is that's being sold. You just don't necessarily have that here. Some companies will, but the company that we're looking at, we're just asking for some information about the material, because it needs to be sort of UPVC in the sense that, maybe that's the wrong word, but it needs to be protected from the sunlight so it doesn't wear out with the UV rays. And I just want to know, what ratings. Often these plastics will come with that rating, but they can't seem to provide us that. They can't send us a photo, they can't send us a video, and time is ticking. But Samuel is having lunch at the moment. He's going to compile it tonight for a separate thing. And so he's going to kindly go and check them out and see if they've got the right type of plastic, and then hopefully we'll order that. Then today I'm going to go to the hardware shop and see about building a frame, because they quoted us a silly amount of money for a non-specialist frame. The stuff that you can get would be these sort of metal tubes which link together. That's not what they're offering. They're offering just sort of timber built or metal built designs, which are just incredibly expensive, and they shouldn't cost that much. So we're going to come up with our own solution to make it affordable for the project, which should be fun. And then me and Richard will be set. Richard is the researcher that's come from Think Aqua to help us with this project. He is coming out in the next week, and need to talk to Pros about making sure all the accommodation is sorted for us. Thought I would show you the substrate and where we are with that. If Humphrey, you come a bit closer, you'll see that the major issue we've got is it's quite wet. So we don't want it to be too wet, because then the maggots will basically drown. We've also got some rotten fish in here, so you can smell it the best. But the maggots are doing fairly well. It's so warm. Let's see if I can. There we go. You can see them all there. And there's a lot of them. You can see here. So these ones are getting definitely the right sort of size, so we can feed them to our black fish shortly. Yeah, but not bad. But like I say, the major challenge we're having at the moment is just making sure that this is so wet. We can't have it that soggy. They drown. So anyway, try and get some more substrate so we can sort that. Right, thanks Humphrey. Just trying to get down to measure. We've trying not to ruin the banks too much because it's so wet. So we brought this ladder to see if it helps us, and it does. Don't want to embarrass myself too. Down we are, and it's fairly hard on the bottom here, so it works fairly well. You can see all the amount of rain we've had. Even just this afternoon we had about 20 minutes, but I'm going to check the pipes. And then we need to try and work out where, so you basically look at the bottom of the pipes, this is the lowest part, because of course that's where you want the water to drain out. And then we will measure from the bottom of these pipes to where we think the water level will be, which is basically the top of that pipe, which is a bit down now, but it's below the Dawson's Creek. Can't get my words out today, so let me just get this measurement. We've got this fancy thing which is talked about before. My father-in-law David gave it to me. It's got a laser, which is what's incredibly useful, because then you can shine it and then get this sort of rough angle where we're going. So let me just measure up and see how we do it. So this is the pond Rosie, which is just right up to my boots. Okay, it's getting a bit more solid. So we need to do the same to this one in terms of the depth, so it's 1.2 metres, but this one is a bit shallower, so there's a bit more work to do, which is hard work for these men. But we thanked them because that was hard work, and I think it's harder than they thought, so we we reward. We like gave them a little bonus, which was basically a cow's head, because that's what they requested. So don't mock it till you've tried it. I've never tried it, but yeah, cow's head is what they wanted, and then they roast that on the fire. And local delicacy. But you can see how far we've come. It's a lot of mud to dig. So everyone gets a bit nervous, I think, when I've got the tape measure, because it takes so much work we're going to do. But you can see it's started to drain out, which is good. We've made a little channel. Okay, so we might have to back. This is backed up, so we have to try and do something about that maybe.